Welcome to Let's Get Working. For the next 6 weeks, we will be doing a special edition of Let's Get Working. I'm joined here by Martin Wren, the CEO of Nova, and we will be taking you through a very special program.
Okay, Martha, so we want to... What sort of mind or attitude have we got to have if we're going to get a job?
So we need to know how many hours we're prepared to work on looking for a job.
Hours?
Yeah, hours a day. Because I guess, stats show that if you want to get a job, then you really need to work at looking for a job like you would if you had a job. So
Absolutely.
So if you wanted a full-time job, which is about 38 hours,
Yep.
you'd work 38 hours or so
Yep.
on looking for a job.
Okay. So, actually, what you've just said is absolutely correct. Over the years, I've met dozens of people who've said to me, I've applied for dozens, hundreds of jobs, and people don't even get back to me. They don't reply. I've not been successful. Well, there's a couple of things there. First of all, if you apply for one job each week, your chances of being successful, frankly, are really quite small.
Yep.
Because you might say, well, I'm the best candidate. Mm-hmm. But I'm on the other side of the interview table an awful lot, and there are some really good, keen, skilled, qualified candidates for every job.
Yep.
And it's the hardest thing in the world sometimes to go, well, I've got this person or that person, I've got to pick one, I'll pick this person. If you're only applying for one job each week, the chances of you being that person that's successful are probably fairly slim. So I think the very first thing to make a note of is that if we're serious about getting a job, then that work becomes our job until we've actually got the job we want.
Yes.
And you're right, that might mean that we have to put in hours and hours sometimes of work, not over a period of a year, but condensed into a short period of time in which job seeking becomes our number one goal.
And also, could I just add there that if you have the mindset that you're going to treat looking for a job like a job,
Yep.
you've got to be more serious about it.
Absolutely.
Your skills are going to get honed a lot faster.
Yep.
And you'll move forward through your process a lot quicker.
Absolutely, because practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another problem, because people will say, well, I'm a very skilled mechanic. And that's not a doubt. But none of the things that you learned in mechanic school had to do with getting a job. Mm-hmm. They had to do with being a good mechanic. Yeah. So great mechanics don't necessarily make great interview candidates or necessarily write great applications. So we're going to look at how we can improve in those skills as well. So first thing, this is a job. My job is to get myself a job. Yeah. And I understand that doesn't happen with one application sent into one person, no matter how well I've researched and written that application. Mm-hmm. This is my job. I may have to make hundreds of applications, but I'm going to do that in a compressed, short period of time. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to practice my job-seeking skills.
Yeah.
Okay. Where will we do this work, do you think? What works?
Well, you really need to have a table set up.
Yep.
A space where you can go,
sit
down, have everything there for you. Pens, papers, envelopes, a computer, paper.
Television, radio?
No television or radio. They're distractions.
Okay. So a place without distraction?
Yeah. Yeah, and to just, focus and plan out your morning or your day or your week and say, okay, now I'm going to work on this, and then I'm going to work on this, and then I'm going to work on that.
What about if we want to work, but we don't know what we want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've not worked before. I've worked, but it was a long time ago. I've acquired a disability that prevents me from doing what I used to do.
Yeah.
How can I identify what might be good for me?
Well, there's a job quiz you can do, and we'll put the website up on the internet.
Okay.
So it asks you things about what you like doing, what your interests are, what your skills are, and things like that. So there's a quiz you can do,
Yep.
and then with the outcome of that, you can research what the job might entail by looking at another website.
And we'll put links for that
Yeah.
on our website so that people can click across and see for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's part of the job this week.
Yeah.
Check out those web links.
Yeah.
Have a look at see if we can identify more clearly what we want to do.
Yes.
And where that fits in the scheme of things.
Yes.
Okay, so week 1. By the time we get to week 2, what we need to have done is had a think and done some research about the sorts of jobs that we think suit us.
Yes.
And for goodness sake, should we just have one?
No.
Why not?
Because you may be suitable to a number of jobs, so it's really good to have about 2 or 3 at hand.
Yep.
And also, talk to people that you know that do that job already, and ask them what their day-to-day running is like, and what they think that the skills they need for their job. And you know, we're not islands here, so it's not about you working on this on your own in secret. The more you can tell people that you're looking for a job,
Right.
the more support you can get, and encouragement,
Yep.
and people keeping you accountable,
Yep.
and also sharing what you're doing with others.
Okay,
It's
yes.
really helpful.
I think that's really important to
Yeah.
get as much support as you can. The
Yeah.
other thing I would say on having a number of options for work is that what we're talking about and what this show's about is let's get working.
Yeah.
Now, I want that to be in a job where you'll find satisfaction, purpose and meaning.
Yes.
But I bet you there's more than one job where you can achieve those
Yeah.
things. And if we decide, hey, I want to work in a butchery, and we live in a small town and there's only one butcher's, and that butcher's not hiring right now, then it doesn't matter how seriously we treat our job and our job-seeking activities, we're not going to get work.
No.
So we need to have if you like, a few options that we can go. Okay,
Yes.
I want really ultimately at the end of my career seeking, I'm going to be a butcher. But in the meantime, I'll take work in a supermarket or in a warehouse or wherever it may be, just so that I can actually begin to build up a working history, get some stuff on my resume,
Yes,
more
that's
importantly perhaps, get some money,
Yeah.
and give myself the opportunity to go to an employer and say, well, I'm currently working at so-and-so, but I've been thinking about a career change,
Yeah.
which sounds so much better than I've been unemployed for 10 years.
Well, that's true. If you're employed and you're looking for another job, the employers are more likely to want to hire you, and they're more interested in you because you've taken the initiative and you've done other work.
Yep, I actually think you should pick 4 or 5
Okay.
possible
Yeah.
career goals.
That would
okay?
be good.
So that you've got a bit of a hand of cards when the paper comes out, when you start to make calls, when you want to go and see people. You're not just going to the only one in town.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so what I want to do is important, and now the next question would be, I'm going to write down in my notes, where am I going to do it?
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's no point in, I live in Lura, there is no point in me applying for jobs in Wollongong.
That's correct.
I'm not moving to Wollongong, and I can't reach there and back each day
That's right.
in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, if I didn't have a car, it would have to be walking distance or public transport.
Yeah.
Which may mean that I can't do some of the jobs I thought I could do
Yes.
because I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So working out realistically where you could work becomes the next question.
Yes.
So I want to be a baker, and I need to be a baker that's on the railway line that runs between Penrith and Parramatta, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to get about.
Yeah.
So 10-minute walk from the station on that line between Parramatta and Penrith, or wherever it is that I'm able to get public transport for. What about the question of part-time or full-time work?
Yeah, I think it's important to know your disability and how much you're able to work. It's good to be realistic because you don't want to take on a full-time job if after 6 weeks you have to pull out because you're exhausted and you can't function. It's really important to still look after your health.
Yeah. Now, when you started with us, how many days a week were you doing?
I work 3 days a week, 5 hours a day.
And how did you find that to start with?
Yeah, it was tough, but slowly I built up more hours.
And then what did your boss say to you?
I don't remember.
Do more.
Do more, yes, do more. So we added another hour to each day.
Each day, yep.
And then we added another day.
Yep.
And then...
And now you're telling me that you have to have 1 day off.
Yes. I've always had to have 1 day off. So, and that's another thing too. If you get assistance like cleaning and cooking, say, like I do, they're really important things that I need to function still in my week-to-week and day-to-day life. So I've had to negotiate with my boss. And, yeah, they're important things that I need.
It was a tough negotiation.
It was a tough negotiation.
I almost got what I wanted.
Almost. I just won't give up my cooking or my cleaning.
Well, probably people have got to eat in a clean house. That's probably fair. Okay, so we know what we want to do, we know where we want to do it, and now for this part-time or full-time stuff, do you know, it pays to be flexible, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So you can come in and say, look, I'm looking for a full-time job, but I'd work part-time if that was all that was available.
Yep.
Give me an opportunity to prove myself.
Yes.
Because don't forget, the employer's going to be thinking, ooh, that looks an awful lot like a wheelchair to me. You know, and that there may be some reservations.
Would be right.
There might be some reservations around that.
Yeah.
So yep. Look, I'm looking for full-time work, but right now I'm keen for a start, and I'll take part-time.
Yeah.
And then there's this last question, particularly important for people with disability. How will I get to work?
Yes, it's a really important
Yeah.
question. I know for myself, I could never work in the city.
No.
And even Parramatta and Blacktown are a bit too far.
Yeah.
I needed to work somewhere local where I could be driven to work, but not take so much time out of my husband's day that he couldn't do his work.
Yeah.
And so my work is 8 minutes away from home, and it works really well.
So it better never be late.
No, I've never been late. No.
Okay, so for next week, when we come back to the show, we're going to hope that everybody that wants to participate in this job seeking course has thought about what they want to do, thought about where they're going to do it, had some idea about whether or not they want to work full-time or part-time, and also had a look at those web links that we've posted to make sure that their career goal is realistic.
And also what we'll do, we'll put up the sheet on the website so people can download it and fill it in.
Okay, excellent. So
there
there are going to be a series of downloads and links for this week's webcast. Please have a look at them. See for yourself what you're going to need to do before we come back next week. That's about it for us, eh?
Yep, that's good.
Thank you.
See you next week. Bye for now.